In this video is a description of Math 1A Section 1, the syllabus for Calculus, Spring 2023. The catalog description. This course studies the meaning, computation, and application of the derivative with an introduction to the integral. Topics include the definition of the derivative, limits, rules for differentiating polynomial, rational, exponential, logarithmic, inverse, trigonometric, and root functions, applications of the derivative, and an introduction to the definite integral. The course includes calculator and or computer usage. Okay, there's the prerequisite for this course, and it's 4 units. The time, day, and room of the class meeting will be 3:15 p.m. to 6:20 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, and the location of the class is room 102. My name is Anthony Siciliano. There's my email address. My office is in room 212, and there's my telephone number and extension. Below here are the student office hours. So on Monday and Wednesday, I'll be in my office in room 212 from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And then office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays are on Zoom from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and then 5:30 to 6:05 p.m. The office hours for Zoom, you just need to click on this link, and therefore there would be the link for that office hours. Now, student office hours are for your benefit to help you succeed in the course. Office hours are for you, the student, not for me, as I am available at those times not only to discuss the course, but any questions you have about math courses at the college, your field of study, your transfer plans, and career paths. The best way to reach me is email, and it must be your student email account. Always include your name and course. All email contact between students and instructors must be conducted using the student and instructor's CMC email accounts. For students, this is accessible via the My CMC portal on the CMC website. Any student email received by faculty from another email account cannot be responded to other than to remind the student to use their school email account. Please also keep in mind that grades cannot be distributed by phone, public posting, public announcement, or by email. The textbook. The textbook is from the author Stewart J. Stewart, Calculus Concepts and Context, 4th edition, 2010. The textbook is optional, but recommended. There's also a student solution manual that's also assigned with that as well. Now, the textbook is available used for under $20 on thriftbooks.com, or you can find it in other locations. What is required for the course is WebAssign registration code. WebAssign can be purchased online with instructions located on Canvas. The homework and ebook registration is under $80 by choosing the 5-month access. Grading. Your grade in this class will be determined as follows. You have your grade component and your percentage of the final grade. You have classwork, group work, pre-assignments, homework, and quizzes are worth 25% of your grade. There'll be a total of 4 exams, which all will be 50% of your grade, and your final exam, which is 25% of your grade. And then below that, you can see the grading scale. Attendance. In an effort to promote student success, CMC has approved the implementation of an instructor-initiated drop policy. When a student has been absent from classes to such an extent that his or her success is at risk, the instructor has the option of dropping the student. If a student has missed 12.5%, about 5 classes of the semester, without notifying the instructor with a satisfactory explanation, the student may be dropped by the instructor. Students, however, should not rely on the instructor to drop them just because they stop attending. Students are responsible for their regular attendance in the courses in which they are enrolled and are responsible for notifying instructors when they are unable to attend class. Likewise, students are responsible for dropping a course they are no longer able to attend. Prior to dropping a student, faculty is encouraged but is not required to make an attempt to contact students who are no longer attending class. Faculty may adopt a drop policy that is more flexible if they feel it benefits the student's success. Faculty may drop a student after census and until the last day that students are allowed to drop a course. The faculty initiated drop will result in a W appearing on the student's transcript, and it is the student's responsibility to learn how it affects financial aid and course repeatability. Students will be dropped from the course if the student does not attend the first day of class. Students will be dropped at census if 2 or more classes in a row prior to the census deadline without contacting the instructor with a legitimate reason for the absence. Financial aid will be informed of non-attendance of students who miss 2 or more consecutive weeks of class without contacting the instructor with a legitimate reason for the absence, even if an instructor-initiated drop is not made. Materials. Desmos, which is the free online calculator. Some portions of this class will require the use of a calculator. In this course, we will use the website or app Desmos as our graphing calculator. To familiarize yourself with Desmos, please watch the videos on Canvas along with Desmos website or app. A Texas Instrument TI-30 is an excellent non-graphing calculator that will be sufficient for homework and exams. A Texas Instruments TI-83 or 84 both have plus models with additional memory are good graphing calculators that can be useful for quickly visualizing graphs. They are considerably more expensive than the TI-30. Other devices such as TI-89, Inspire, a cell phone, and computer that perform calculus operations are not allowed on exams. Now note, exams will sometimes have 2 parts, a graph-related part where a calculator of any type is not allowed, and a non-graph related part where any type of calculator is allowed. So having a graphing calculator will provide only limited advantage to test taking. Those persons with an access calculator accommodation may use the calculator listed on their accommodation sheets on all parts of the exam. Method of instruction. I will be using a flipped class format for this course. This means the lecture is delivered via video outside of class, and in class we focus on application activities. For most classes, prior to coming to class, you will be provided with guided notes and watch a video lecture on Canvas. Do some reading and take a class pre-assignment on these assigned activities. In class, we will go over the pre-assignment and then we'll engage in other activities such as hands-on experiment demonstrations, individual or small group problem solving, or discussion of an assigned reading. When watching lectures outside of class, take notes as you normally would during a lecture. You are encouraged to do this longhand rather than on your computer. When doing your pre-class activities, make note of any questions you have and be sure to bring these up in class. Note that this class format requires you to do some work in preparation for each class meeting, and this work will help with your learning. So here's the course structure. The course is delivered through video lectures I have created on Canvas and an online course management system called WebAssign where you do your work. Each chapter of the text that we are going to study has 3 parts described below. Part 1, you have lecture videos and guided notebook. Prior to each class, you watch the lecture videos on Canvas, which is where the course content is delivered to you via reading assignments, video presentation, examples also with video solutions, interactive activities, and assessment questions. When watching lectures outside of class, you want to take notes working through the lecture and filling in the guidebook, which you'll see below, the guided notebook, as you normally would during a lecture. You are encouraged to do this longhand rather than on your computer. Part 2. Lecture review pre-class assignments. After you complete watching the lecture videos, you complete each lecture review assignment. These lecture review assignments are low stakes with a chance of improving your overall score, but will be due at the beginning of each class. It is important to complete this assignment prior to class to get you ready for each class. Part 3. Classwork, group classwork, and section homework. In class, we will go over the pre-class assignment and then we'll engage in other activities such as hands-on experiment demonstrations, individual or small group problem solving, or discussion of an assigned reading. Additionally, class time will also be dedicated and allocated to completing your section homework assignments. Homework study tips, homework videos, guided notebook. This is an activity manual located on Canvas that you can access, download, and print. This is a place where you can take notes on the information given in the lectures by filling in all the information from the slides in a notebook. This will be a valuable resource for you as you work through the homework assignment for each section, as well as the quizzes and exams over the corresponding material. Pay close attention to the homework videos located on Canvas. This will be helpful to you as you move along with your homework assignments. Exams and final exam. There will be 4 in-class exams. It is mandatory you show all work for exams. It must be neatly written and completed on paper with all work shown in the chronological order. The final exam is mandatory in order to earn an assigned grade for the course. The final exam can replace your lowest test score using the following approach. It is my policy to replace a student's lowest test grade with the final exam at the end of the course, provided that it is higher than one of your lowest exam scores. For this reason, I do not give makeup tests. A missed test will be recorded as a 0 and then replaced accordingly at the end of the semester. Missing the final will also result in a 0, and I do not drop this grade. The instructor has the right to adjust this policy under special circumstances. Please make note, there are no extensions for exams and no exceptions. Due dates, late penalties, and technical difficulties. All interactive homework quizzes and exam reviews have the following late penalty policy. Students submitting work for course assignments after the due date are subject to a penalty of 5% of the points possible for the assignment per day. That is, for each day passing after the due date. So, for example, submissions posted after the due date within 24 hours of the date the assignment is due will be penalized 5% of the potential value of the assignment. Due dates will not be extended because of technical difficulties. The deadlines on these assignments are not extended, and you must make plans to complete these. Due dates for online assignments are clearly stated in WebAssign. Okay, this is a repeated part of the guided notebook, so I'll go ahead and remove that in the syllabus so it's not there. Okay, next, student learning outcomes. Upon successful completion of this course, students will be able to explain and illustrate the concepts of limits, continuity, instantaneous rate of change, derivative, linear approximation, and antiderivative. Apply the techniques of differentiation to basic functions and their algebraic combinations. Analyze and graph functions using methods of calculus. Use properties and rules of calculus to solve applied problems including motion, related rates, and optimization problems. And determine the integral of a function using methods that include interpretation as a geometric area, the limit of a Riemann sum, and the fundamental theorem of calculus. These outcomes will be assessed by questions on the quizzes, tests, and final exams. Students with disabilities access. Students with disabilities, whether physical, learning, or psychological, who may need academic support in a classroom, are encouraged to contact Access as soon as possible to ensure that appropriate accommodations and/or services are implemented. Further information about this program may be found on the Copper Mountain College website and in the Office of Student Services at the Access counter. Please make sure to visit CMC's Access website for more information at the following, or you can also call the following number. Military-friendly statement. Veterans and active duty military personnel with special circumstances, such as upcoming deployments, drill requirements, disabilities, are welcome and encouraged to communicate these in advance, if possible, to the instructor. Equal opportunity statement. Copper Mountain College is committed to equal employment opportunity for all persons and to provide educational and employment opportunities free from discrimination based on ethnic group identification, national origin, religion, age, veteran status, sex, race, color, ancestry, sexual orientation, or physical or mental favors, and other physical or verbal conduct or communication constituting sexual harassment. Disclaimer. Changes in curriculum, grading standards, and other requirements could change as necessary. It is the student's responsibility to know and understand all policies, procedures, and requirements for Copper Mountain College and this class. Any concerns should be directed to your instructor, the appropriate department chair, or college administrator in that order. Information in this syllabus is subject to change. Any important changes will be announced in class, and you will be provided with an updated syllabus. Tentative schedule. The course schedule may change at the discretion of the instructor. However, students will be notified in writing when any additions are made to the schedule. So you can see here's the dates. So meeting 1 for week 1, January 30th, we're going over section 1.1, 1.2. And then the second day, which is going to be on Wednesday, February 1st, is 1.3 to 1.5, and then so on. And you can see where all the due dates and the particular assignments that will be posted there on the tentative schedule. Okay, syllabus addendum. It is very important to recognize the flipped method of learning is somewhat different from the traditional classroom learning. So for example, in this mode of instruction, direct instruction from the professor often takes the form of a lecture video, and you are expected to review the new material on your own before class by watching lecture videos, completing pre-assignments and hands-on activities, etc. This may be a bit frustrating at first, but if you are patient and take the time to get accustomed to it, you will find the experience rewarding and powerful as it promotes self-regulated learning and fosters intellectual qualities, such as openness, adaptability, responsibility, and persistence that are key to your success in today's highly competitive job place market. In this mode of instruction, you are expected to gain basic fluency with new concepts, topics, materials before class by watching the lecture videos, completing the guided notes, readings, and other required activities. Come to class prepared to work on applications analysis of the basic material. Class time will be devoted to active work with peers and professor on your side to provide assistance, and lectures, if given, will be on a limited quantity in class. Generate specific questions to be addressed in class if you are struggling with the pre-class material. In this mode of instruction, you are not expected to teach yourself the entire course. You will be self-teaching with guidance. Your professor is the guide on the side. Attain complete mastery of a new concept material before class. So you're not expected to obtain complete mastery of the new concept and material before class. Rather, you are expected to gain basic fluency of the pre-class material. So if you're struggling with it, develop the habit of generating targeted questions that your peers and professor can answer for you during class. So, a student guide for how to succeed in an active learning classroom. What is active learning? Well, active learning is where students participate in the classroom rather than passively listening and watching a lecture. Active learning can take many forms, from as simple as the instructor asking the class a question to foster class discussion to student-led group activities. Why do we use active learning? Well, education researchers have done extensive research into how students learn. A meta-analysis of research in active learning published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences determined that active learning increases examination performance and decreases failure rates in STEM disciplines. Now, in fact, the effect size is so large that if this were a clinical trial for a new drug, the study would need to be stopped, since it would be unethical to continue giving the old drug to patients. Now, what can you do to succeed in this course format? If you haven't taken a course that uses active learning, it can be frustrating and daunting at first, so be prepared to be uncomfortable and try to stay open to trying new learning styles. So some tips for succeeding. Read along with your guided notes while you complete the required reading and videos. Cognitive scientists have found that if we read and test ourselves on concepts before learning them, we will better retain the content. Don't just passively watch the videos. At the end of each section, pause and quiz yourself on what you just learned. If something doesn't make sense, write down questions that you can ask your instructor during class. Don't try to multitask during class. Focus on your own learning. Even just having your cell phone out next to you is distracting to both you and your neighbors. Be open to working in groups, even if it doesn't seem comfortable at first. Check your work with each other and discuss the problems as a group. Trying to verbally explain a concept is much different than thinking about it. After each class, take a few minutes and write down the main points you learned from class that day. Rewrite and organize any notes you took in class. Make use of all the resources available in the course. Go to the Learning Resource Center and check your work with the tutors available in the LRC. Visit your instructor's office hours with written questions about the material, and work on on-work exercises in the book for practice. Solutions are in the back of the book. When working on assignments outside of class, try all the problems on your own before working in groups. Exams are taken individually, so you need practice working on problems alone. This also gives you a better sense of what topics you do and don't fully understand. So, if you take a look here, here's a page from advice from former students. You can go ahead and take a look at that on your own time, and make sure you read through that so you can see what it takes to be successful in a flipped classroom. Okay, so here, the next page is classroom etiquette. In order for all students to have an optimal learning experience in this class, please follow these classroom etiquette rules. They are not optional. So, when the instructor is speaking to the class, do not speak to anyone, even if you wish to talk about something related to the class. Why is that? People are investing much time, effort, and money to be successful in this class. People have their future riding on their success and have a right to learn. Speaking to others while the instructor is teaching makes it difficult for some students to hear all the information they will need to succeed in the class. Basically, everyone needs to respect the rights of others to learn. Many find that mathematics is a difficult subject. It is important that the classroom environment be such that everyone has their best shot at learning at it. If the instructor asks a general question about material they are presenting and you believe you know the answer, raise your hand to be called on to answer the question. Do not just speak out the answer without being called on. Why is that? Often the same students tend to answer the instructor's questions of the class. The instructor may often wish for others to try and answer the question. When a student asks the instructor a question, this is not a time to speak with other students for any reason. Why? The questions students ask the instructor are very likely to be questions other students need to know the answer to. Talking during this time makes it difficult for all students to hear the answer. Knowing the answer yourself does not relieve you of the responsibility to allow other students to hear the answer. During times when the instructor has directed the class to work on problems, talking with classmates is acceptable, but this talking should not be loud and should be restricted to the problems at hand, not subjects outside the class. Why? Similarly to the explanation for Rule 1, it is important that students are in an environment conducive to learning. It is hard to concentrate when the noise volume in a class is loud. Talk in hushed tones like you're in a library. You can talk about subjects other than math outside the classroom during breaks. Mobile devices should be turned off during class. Why? As with inappropriate talking, the noises of mobile devices can disrupt the learning process. To respect others' right to learn, please turn them off. Your instructor would like to thank you for following these simple rules. And that concludes the syllabus for this course.